Good afternoon and welcome to the ARC's monthly self-direction webinar, in which we review important topics to help you successfully self-direct your services. Please note this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the ARC's new website, along with the presentation, if there is one, on our forms and resources page under webinars, which we will actually review as part of this webinar today because the subject is the ARC's brand new website, which includes the self-directed services portion of the website. Anyone who's visited the website has probably seen that there have been a few changes. So we wanted to go over those with you to ensure that you can most efficiently self-direct your services and that people know where to find the forms they need to do that. So I'm Peter Cook, the Director of Stakeholder Relations. I'm here with Mark Weinstein, the Senior Director of Self-Directed Services. And once we've gone through the website, we'll do a Q&A session. So if you could refrain from asking questions in the Q&A application until after we've sort of walked through the website, because we may answer some of your questions as we go through it. So we'll get started with the website now. The ARC's website is just simply at thearcccr.org. Once you've hit the landing page here, you simply navigate to Services and Self-Directed Services here. And that will take you to the Self-Directed Services page of our website. It's new and improved. It includes a lot of the same resources that were previously available, but they are a little easier to find now. Sort of everything is in a more convenient place. So to start, when you are on this landing page, you can easily click place a ticket up here in the top right if you want to get to Zendesk. So if you click that, it will take you straight to the ARC's Zendesk ticketing system. You just need to sign up if you've never logged in or sign in. I would recommend bookmarking Zendesk in addition to bookmarking whichever pages on this website that you tend to use frequently. Next to the place a ticket button, there's also a contact page. So when I click that, it will take me to a couple of contact options, which include our list of contact emails and which email you should use when you're submitting a particular document. So usually budget-related documentation would go to FMS participants, new hire packets go to FMS new hire packets, and so on. So this is a very important document for your day-to-day self-direction. And it can be found right under the contact section of the website. We also have our phone number that you can call anytime between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. to speak to a stakeholder relations representative. And again, we have a link to the ticketing system. If I scroll back from the contact page, I am now back on the main self-directed services page here. If you scroll down, there's some information about what self-direction is. And below that, we have some important forms and resources that are just available on this first page for your convenience. And these are just some of the frequently downloaded forms and easy access resources that tend to get used the most. So frequently downloaded forms includes, the new hire packet, the payroll calendar for 2024, the AP calendar for 2024, vendor payment request forms, and mileage reimbursement forms. We also have another link to the customer service ticketing system, Zendesk, right here. We have our webinar on how to use Zendesk. We have our Evie app and portal training video that we recommend new participants and employees watch to get acquainted with submitting their electronic time. And again, we have the same contacts and resources page that we just looked at a moment ago. Just below that, we have some top tools and technology resources that include a link to FMS Engine, which is used by both participants and employees to submit e-time on the employee behalf and then approve the e-time on the participant behalf, in addition to the participant dashboard for participants. So I do recommend, if you haven't bookmarked that, to bookmark that also, as it's a very commonly used system. So if you click that, it would just take you to FMS1 and you would sign in with your credentials. We also have some quick links to the EVI user's manual, as well as our webinar on the participant dashboard, which is for participants. The participant dashboard is what they use to track their budget in real time. The last thing on the main page is just some enrollment information. I imagine most people attending this webinar are already enrolled, but for those who are interested, there's an enrollment inquiry button there. Additionally, for people who would like to subscribe to the Self-Directed Services contact list, they can click subscribe here at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the main page here just to show you some quick links that we have located at the top of the page. A participant may not always want to go to the main page. They may want to go directly to our Forms and Resources page. So I'm clicking Forms and Resources here, and that takes us to a Forms and Resources page that includes basically any form that you might be using. That's, it's an ARC form that you would use to self-direct. This doesn't include DDA forms like actual budget mod sheets or budget sheets. Those can be found on DDA's website, but it does include our new hire packet here. It includes the new hire packet broken down into individual forms, in addition to employee change and termination forms. Some sample forms related to employee onboarding. And then some standalone forms that you tend to use, frequently in day-to-day self-direction. So that includes the employee change form here, our frequently asked questions document about change form submission process and timelines, the employee termination and inactivation form, which should be submitted immediately upon the termination of an employee, some fraud prevention documents that we recommend participants and employees review, and then a couple of presentations to help you self-direct. One of them is employee onboarding success, and one of them is a review of important employee forms. These were also webinars that you can find on the webinars section of the website that I will show you in just a moment. We also have our tips for approving time for participants document here. Below the employee onboarding resources, we have some standard payroll forms and resources, which includes information on sick and safe leave for Montgomery County, the payroll calendar, some tips for reviewing your budget. And then below that, we include our accounts payable forms and resources, which again includes mileage reimbursement form, the vendor payment request form that can be submitted with an invoice, the AP calendar, and then a W-9 and some useful invoice templates and invoice samples for vendors and participants. The last item in the form section is the webinars and presentations that I referred to. We will add this webinar to this section, but if you click the little button here, it opens up and you can see the historical webinars along with the presentation, if one was applicable, that the ARC has provided to help people self-direct. We've also included the tools and technology section of the website as part of Forms and Resources. You do have the option up at the top here of going directly to Tools and Technology, but it is on the same page as Forms and Resources. So when I click Tools and Technology here, it scrolls me down directly to that section. This section includes a wealth of information to assist participants and employees to use FMS Engine, which is the overall system under which we have the EVI timekeeping system and the participant dashboard. Again, we have a link to log into FMS Engine here. And this link is used by both participants and employees. We include our FAQ document about FMS Engine. We have our tips for approving time as a participant document. And we also include EVI app and portal training, which actually was going to open up a video here. So I'm going to close that so we don't have to watch the ad. But again, we highly recommend for participants who want to brush up on the EVI portal, new or old, as well as employees. It's a great training resource to watch. Below that, we include some additional training videos for the EVI app and the portal. Again, the EVI app is what an employee would use to clock in and out of EVI in real time when they're logging a shift, and the portal is where they and the participant go in order to approve that time. So we have numerous videos here split up into using a desktop computer for the portal or using a mobile device or tablet for the portal, since the arrangement is slightly different for those. And you would just click the link and it will open in a separate tab, and there's a video there. We also include some quick start written guides in addition to the videos that just show how to download the EVI app if you're an employee, how to use it, how to approve shifts, how to batch approve shifts, which is an easy way to enter a lot of shifts at once if you are exempt from the EBV requirement. We also have a webinar on our webinars page that reviews that for any teams that may not have watched that yet. How to adjust shifts, how to batch enter shifts in addition to batch approval, how to create a manual shift, and then just signing up in general. So if I scroll back to the top of the page, we also have a news section, which includes recent announcements that we may have sent out to participants and employees, basically anyone who's on our contact list. In case you happen to miss one, you can always check here to see the most recent announcements. And that concludes the tour of the website. As you can see, we keep it relatively simple, and we're trying to include as many important documents in one place so that they're easy to find, easy to download. And I think with that, we can get into the Q&A session if anybody has a question.
So we have one question so far, and it says, would DDA rate changes be posted under news and sent via email?
DDA rate changes would be posted on DDA's website. We would not include those on our website, but they can be found on DDA's standard self-direction information and resources page.
They have a chart for reasonable customary rates that you can check out.
Yeah, and we do have a link to that on the contact sheet that I showed you.
Could you demonstrate where the DDA website link is?
If you go to the contact sheet up here, so this is right at the top of the main page, and then you go to our list of the submission forms and documents. We do include some standard links to DDA pages here as well. So the DDA guidance forms and webinars link is here.
And that's a really good page with lots of good information.
Yeah, again, in addition to bookmarking, the ARC's website, bookmarking FMSZ, bookmarking Zendesk, I also, highly recommend bookmarking this page as well.
There's a link down there to the reasonable customary rates that.
Oh yeah, we can just show people while we're here.
Right.
So there's a reasonable and customary rates section there. Do we have any other questions, Mark?
Nothing. Oh, here comes another one. Oh, a couple more. Okay, so Says my son is in the process of approval. PCP has been approved and waiting for waiver approval. Are we able to go into EVI and start familiarizing? He has a department number assigned.
I think that would depend on whether or not they're fully enrolled as a participant.
Mhm.
Once that happens, I believe that they should be able to access FMS Engine, but I don't know if your budget hasn't been finalized, then it wouldn't have been entered into FMSE yet, so you wouldn't be able to see any budget info in the participant dashboard yet.
Yeah, and we would be waiting for waiver approval before we entered
Yeah.
his information.
But the turnaround time would be pretty quick. Once everything's finalized, the participant would receive a welcome email from the ARC Central Chesapeake region. And they would just click the link in that email to sign up for FMS Engine and activate their account.
Mhm. Here is an unrelated question. Do you pay holiday pay using only the holiday pay differential?
I'm not sure if this would be the forum to answer that question.
Well, I would
think-
say I would say that it's up to the participant on what they want to pay their staff for holiday. It could be straight time, time and a half, or 2 times. That's something you'd have to talk to the participant about for each
Correct, yeah.
situation.
Exactly. And the participant would want to just, work that out with their CCS so that it's included on the budget sheet.
Right.
We have a couple more questions, Mark, or?
Are there any changes to entering time on the EVI site?
There have not been any major changes. If you are accessing the EVI portal, using a mobile device or a tablet, you may see that the layout is somewhat more convenient now and it's easier to, navigate. But the EVI portal hasn't changed, other than the fact that you can now do a batch shift entry feature that was implemented some months ago. With the just note that if you're doing batch shift entry, those shifts won't be EVV compliant. So the only person who would be using the batch shift entry is someone who has the live-in caregiver exemption from having to be EVV compliant.
My son's start date was 7/1, but his staff were not onboarded until last weekend, despite having employee packets in the ARC in early June. How do we pay staff for shifts while they're not able to log in?
I believe that would depend on when the employees were cleared. You would be able to manually enter a shift in the EVI portal. Again, it wouldn't be EVV compliant, but back to the clearance date of any employee. So if the employee was cleared to work, you could manually enter those older shifts that they may not have been able to log in real time in the EVI portal. Okay, I guess if we don't have any more questions, that would conclude the webinar. We thank everybody for joining us today. This webinar will be posted under the Forms and Resources section of the website. In case you missed it, or in case someone missed it. And then as ever, if you have any questions, feel free to place a ticket or give the Stakeholder Relations Department a call between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Every business day. So thanks so much for attending, and we will see you next month.
Thank you.